Hi, I'm Anthony Clark. I'm a retired athlete at the Olympic level, motivational speaker, musician, and masseur of dogs and human beings. And I live here in beautiful Adelaide.
Tony, can you please tell us a little bit about your career in judo and how you got into it?
I've been playing judo now for approximately 40 years. I'm my fourth dan black belt. I've won 2 world titles and a gold medal at the Paralympics in '96. And against older people, won many minor internationals and 7 national titles. And I guess at my peak against older people, I was ranked number 3 in the country. And I took up judo after I lost my sight because it's one of the few sports where you can integrate into the able-bodied stream of sports events. And I had no idea I'd be good at it, and I just started at the beginning and went through my belt grades, did minor competitions, and ended up being the world leader in my sport of judo.
Okay, Tony, can you tell us about the mural on top of your kitchen table here and the reason why you had this artwork commissioned?
I commissioned this mural on the table here. I guess primarily I wrecked the tabletop there and I was wondering how I was going to fix it up, and I thought a painting on here would be the perfect remedy for the artist. So a very simple solution to a problem of ruining a desktop. I had a very well-known artist by the name of Jamahl Pollard do this painting for me. Quite an interesting process. I've never commissioned a painting before, and it really represents some of the philosophies of my life in conjunction with some of the philosophies of judo, and have expressed this in this very symbolic painting here.
Tony, could you please explain about the symbolism behind the artwork?
There are many symbolisms in this artwork here that have been cremated by Jamahl and myself. I guess primarily it's about all things being equal, and friendship and fellowship, and how different cultures and societies can join hands overseas. So in the main part of the picture I have 3 koala bears. The reason why I chose koala bears because koala bears are vision impaired themselves. They have low vision. With the 3 student koala bears on the left, they represent different, cultural stereotypes. There to show that judo is an equal opportunity sport, and they're bowing to the sensei, their older teacher. So you've got that respect between information being exchanged from young to the old, and from the old to the young. And at the same time, these 3 young judo players are bowing in respect to their sensei, their older coach, but at the same time their spirit is not broken, so they're still sort of playful in their way as well, so they still have their individual spirits are still there. On either side of the painting are 2 trees. One is Australian wattle tree, and on the left represents a Japanese cherry tree, and the branches reach over the top, eventually turning into hands. So they're reaching out across the oceans to shake hands and enjoy each other's company and fellowship. And that's really what the painting is all about: equal opportunities and enjoying each other's company.
So can you tell us about the black sheep which sits just on the side at the base of the tree on the cherry tree side?
In the painting, one of the obvious things there when looked closely is a bit of a black sheep. It's part of a series of things I've hidden in the painting, which I have all of my previous guide dogs, of which have been 6, have been represented in the painting, usually hidden in there. And the black sheep is just one dog that was literally the black sheep of the family, a dog that didn't turn out well, and he was retired early in his job, so that's what's happened there.
So you're referring to that being a guide dog, yes?
That's correct, it's one of the guide dogs.
Right. So, can you also explain about the interesting sunblast in the middle? What's that represent?
Oh, the sun, in the middle there I have a picture of the sun. I've tried to have Jamahl sort of combine, I guess, the two cultures, which both have suns in their historical memorabilia. For example, in the army, on the badge on the slouch hat, they have the rising sun, I think it's called, and the Japanese use the sun as one of their national symbols as well. And as my parents were in World War II, there and their local RSL club were very unfriendly towards Judo being played in their hall, but over time these issues were resolved, and really it's about Australia and Japan working together as one, as well throughout history. They were allies at one time, enemies at another time, and now we're back to being allies again, which is what it's all about. Is despite our cultures and differences, everybody working as one, and we just happen to share similar symbolisms in this approach.
So Tony, do you often get people ask you why you have all these amazing artworks, photographs and other things, decorative things around the house, but you can't see it anyway in the first place to appreciate it?
Yes, Jamahl, I often get this question a lot, and it really demonstrates to me how entrenched discriminatory attitudes are when they think a person that's blind or vision impaired in this case can't appreciate the good things of life. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can't appreciate it. And the beauty about having this type of artwork is I designed it and created it and you interpreted it for me into the visual world, and even though at one level I can't see it, but I can see it through other people's interpretations of it when they look at the photo or at the painting, and it's one of the thrills I get. And quite often people think you don't have imagination, or you can't think of things in your mind when you lose sight, because they think that part of your life's eliminated, when it's not true. The imagination's still there. I still have memory recall, surprisingly to some people, so nothing has changed. I've just lost my sight. I still can appreciate the fine things in life, being through it perhaps not the same way as a sighted person do it, but through their sight and their interpretation of what they think the painting is about. And it's one of the kicks I get, and it creates discussion around that, and I can explain to them the philosophy behind the photo, and it's just interesting hearing different interpretations of it, and that's one of the joys I get out of it. And I think that's what art is all about, is creating discussion and thought processes and thinking about things in a different way.
Yeah, it's really mind-bending that people assume that there would be no appreciation of artistic, creative kind of elements that a person might have who is blind or vision impaired. And the great thing about it is having that memory helps create things around the place that you want to achieve, like all the great things that you've done around your own home. You've done quite a bit of work out the back and put in a nice decking and things like that, and you've done quite a bit by yourself with only a little bit of help to assist in getting those final stages done, or the beginning stages. And it's one of those things, you have that drive to have a go and have a try, and I think that's the most important thing that people need to recognise, that people with disabilities often have aspirations and drive, and they just want to achieve things in life like everybody else.
Yeah, and also I think subliminally it creates atmosphere in your house. That's why hotels and pubs spend so much money on decorations in their poker rooms to draw you in. It's a subliminal effect, and that affects people's attitudes and how they act within there. So if you decorate your house in a certain way, that creates a certain atmosphere and can, at some level, encourage certain types of behaviour.
It creates a mood, and it's that ambience, and I do the same thing at my place, and it creates that inviting, enticing feel for people to come and stay for a couple of hours for a drink or two, or a food, feed with friends, or or stay for a couple of days on holidays when they come and visit us, and that's the great thing about it. And people don't think that we have any style. We don't have any, home decorative aspirations in order to create that feel.
We're still filming?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true, Jamahl. It's and even when you explain this concept to people, they still have trouble coming to terms with this concept because it's so foreign to them, because their attitudes are so entrenched in there that they can't perceive that blind people are just normal people
Yep.
that appreciates the finer things of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not only that, also utilising the skills that we've learnt from when we were younger. I remember you talking about ages ago, you used all your trade school, high school tech studies type training, and just used it. It doesn't matter, you've lost your eyesight, but you're still using those skills and abilities and just adapted the technique to create all the things you want to create.
Yeah, one of the probably the most amazing things about this painting as well, it's some people might interpret as, someone that's blind trying to get at what's in their mind on there, and I guess that's part of it, but also as part of the equal opportunities type of scenario that all people are equal and things like that. One of the kicks I get out of this painting is not telling people at first it was done by a person that was vision impaired themselves.
Yeah.
And when I finally tell them that the person this was, legally blind, they're quite shocked and gobsmacked, which really demonstrates to me how entrenched their discriminating attitudes are, because they can't think outside the square.
Yeah, it's confronting on so many different levels. It's interesting. I've witnessed some of the people viewing the artwork, and you've pointed out that I'm the creator, and they've just gone, "Whoa, hello, done by you and your VIP, vision impaired person. What?" And they're just speechless. It's almost like it's floored them in a way. They can't comprehend in a way that somebody could do something of a high standard and quality of equal to that of a person who is fully sighted.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes, or in fact, majority of the time, it really opens people's minds up. But in odd cases, sometimes people can't accept that and refuse to believe it, and that's in some ways interesting. And again, it shows how entrenched these attitudes can. It really demonstrates that this person who's got the ability to think outside the square and does not like being challenged and goes into a defensive sort of mode. It's very interesting how these challenges can impact on people.
Yeah, and I think just through action, we have basically helped them dispel and roll back some of that attitude just by doing. Like, there's the old saying that I like is by Charles Bukowski, a really well-known beatnik poet from the 60s, 70s, early 80s. Charles Bukowski, American guy. And one of his great sayings was, "Don't try, just do." So it's a great way to, action speaks louder than words, and we're not trying to big note ourselves, we're just trying to show that we can do things so we can participate in the world and achieve things. I think that speaks volumes, especially what you've done over your career as well, doing your judo and being active, basically going through life's challenges but still doing your judo as a focus to keep you going.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that quote there's very profound, and And with your quote, I'd like to raise your quote with my quote.
Ooh, hello.
By the origin of the quote, I'm not sure of. It's certainly not a quote made by me, but it's an old quote: "There are none so blind than those that refuse to see."
Yeah, nice. It sums it up in a nutshell. The world is open if you really want to go and look at it. It's there for the taking. Open yourself to experiences. And it's about inclusion too. By us being activated, we're showing that we have something to bring to the world. Please appreciate what we do. And through both of our efforts, I think we're doing that. We're actually bringing focus on what we can do. Focus on what we can do, not what we can't do.
Yeah, I've nothing more to add other than perhaps another quote from an artist who I can't remember his name, a musician, who one of the words in his song was, "I did not know I could not fly, so I did."
G'day, I'm the artist Jamahl Pollard, who created the artwork for Tony Clark. It was a real pleasure doing the artwork for Tony, for the fact that it was representing his long, kind of eventful judo career and many adventures along the way. So it was quite nice to actually do a piece of artwork that actually had some really interesting elements of symbolism. So it's basically oil paint on a primed plywood that's around about 11-12 millimeters thick, and the sides are edged with a strip of timber with a beveled edge on it, and then the border is done in a dark mahogany stain with a little bit of golden oak as well, just to sort of lift it up. And over the top we've put a perspex sheet to protect the artwork, and the artwork also has a glaze over the top of it, which actually also protects the work as well. And the good thing about this too is a tiny little gap at one end, and you can lift up the perspex and remove it, and if it gets damaged or scratched, and it basically doesn't look very nice anymore, and it's easy to keep clean. So this is one of your favourite spots to sit, Tony?
It's where I do a lot of my work on the computer and exercise my mind with this picture, encouraging me to think about life in many different directions.
It's quite bright and colourful. It really stands out. I've got a good range of comments from the artwork creation. I started it in 2020, towards the end of September, I think it was. And finished it in late January and brought it down to Tony here in Adelaide, and we installed it here around about late February, just before COVID came in and wrecked everything. So yeah, much appreciated. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to do something that on this scale as well, and have artistic license and creativity and have a go. Is there anything else you want to add about the artwork, Tony, that you really like?
No.
Fair enough.
Can't think of anything.
I must have done the job just for right then. Perfect. Excellent.
Well, actually, I would have said just not having commissioned a painting before in my life, a very interesting process, and to work with an artist and get our message across to each other and come out with an outcome that's coming exactly how I want is quite a remarkable achievement in itself.